Boo. Alright, a bit of a different video today. I decided to make a commentary instead to try different things. Picking a Sarco. We have 3 subspecies: balanced, speed with the smaller snoot, and chunky defense.
It's so thick!
I'll tell you right off that any of these picks is good. A lot of people go with chunky boy here. Looks like a living burrito. I personally prefer going speed because of the speed advantage. Just a tiny bit of advantage it has over other Sarcos, but that's just a personal preference. So go with whatever you want. Any of them's good.
Yes.
Alright, we have for the bites 2 head slots, so twice the impact. Crushing bite, clipping bite, and regular bite. Oop. The default bite you spawn with is a good generalist bite. It's good for defense when something's on your ass. It's good for hunting. It's good for catching fish. So it's generally good all around bite. Good bit of damage. Yeah. It's good for beginners too. Nice. Okay. Crushing bite. Loud. It does a ton of raw damage. It does not do bone break. Some people thought it did, but no. Just raw damage. A ton of it. One of the highest damage dealing attacks in game. The longer it's wound up, the higher the damage. You could preemptively bite with it, but yeah, it's not as strong as a fully wound up one. And it's also loud, very loud. This will let everyone around you know that you're there. Yep. So ripping bite. Ripping bite is a bite that does bleed. It does very little raw damage, but it does quite a bit of bleed. Sarco used to have bleed on its regular bite, but that's been since removed, and they've added the second head slot, so you could have this. Something's on you, just bite them with a few of these, and eventually they'd fall back and sit the bleed out because yeah, does a good bit of bleed. We also have a tail ability, Lunge. It's only usable in the water, and it does this. I wouldn't use Lunge to get away from something. I just use it to initiate ambushes, because I think it's a waste of stamina. When you're trying to get away from something, let's say a Spino is on you in the water, and you try to use this, yeah, that's a bad idea. Because it kills your stamina. Eventually they'd catch up to you, and you'd be dead in the water. So yeah, use it to ambush. Okay, we have 3 hides, standard, 6 scales, and thin hide. Standard, no positive or negatives. 6 scales, you get increased defense in the form of armor and turning radius at the cost of speed. And thin hide. Thin hide decreases defense and increases movement speed. Thin hide is trash. Thin hide will make you so squishy that you die in a few bites against anything. If anything even inhales in your general direction, your Sarco will die. That's how bad it is. Thick scales is good because you'd hardly notice the difference as with thin hide. I don't know why they named it thin hide. And wait, is it? Let me check. Thick scales and thin hide. Why is it named like that? Shouldn't it be thin scales and thick scales? Anyway, the thick, let's just call it thick, is good because you'd hardly notice the difference in speed with using this and the default hide, and you still get the juicy armor. I can just get attribute armor. See, the default armor is 1.0, but with 6 scales you get 1.5, so that's a 50% increase in armor. So that's good. But with thin hide, yeah, 0.5. Yeah, don't use that.
This is not smart. But we wouldn't do it if it was safe. Because we're not that smart. Oh! Eat your safe. Alright, see if he eats it.
Metabolism. Fish are the default one, allows you to eat meat. Fish doesn't allow you to eat shellfish. Hypercarnivore only allows you to eat meat, but your drain food, mouth words, your food drains much slower. And scavenger allows you to eat pretty much everything, but your food and water drains quite fast. So I use fisher when I'm in a lake with fish because it's much easier to access fish than shellfish. I'd use hypercarnivore when I want to stay in the water, not breaking cover for long periods of time trying to ambush something. And scavenger in cases of when there's no fish in the lake. You could use this to eat bones or shellfish around, and then swap back to fisher. For the loadouts, there's been quite a bit of a debate when it comes to which bite combos you should use or which one is best. The first one is the regular bite and the ripping bite combo. This setup has very little cooldown. It's a solid build, good for beginners, good for all around hunting and stuff. Allows you to defend yourself well even on land. So yeah, it's a good solid build, balanced all around. The next one is pairing crushing bite and ripping bite. Now this one is quite different, requires a different playstyle compared to the first loadout. Because this one requires you to hit and run. Let's say this unfortunate rock's your target.
Please! No!
You wind up your bite, and as you approach it, you hit it with the big raw damage, ripping bite, and then you fall back. Then wind up again, and just rinse and repeat. It's different from the first one because the first loadout requires you to be always right next to your target, constantly biting and such. You can actually see the different playstyle of this in a few of my clips where I was hunting a Spino with the regular bite ones and the other hunting one with the crushing bite. So you'd see me using hit and runs with the crushing bite and ripping bite combo, whereas in the first one I was taking more hits because I was right next to the tail of the Spino trying to bite it constantly. So that's just a difference in playstyle that you keep in mind when using any of these two. And then there's this other loadout, the crushing bite and regular bite. People, I don't think I've seen a lot of people use this. Even I don't use this a lot. Maybe because I just have a personal preference when it comes to bleed attacks. This one is just pure raw damage. You won't be doing any bleed with this loadout. Crushing bite. You'll notice the cooldown on the regular bite here is quite longer. I think it's 2 seconds. Yeah. If you follow through a crushing bite with a regular bite, you have a 2-second cooldown. Part of the reason why I don't use it. This is also good for defense on land, because you have, as long as you have the regular bite, you should be good on land. Allows you to fend off multiple attackers at once, even a solo Sarco. I'm keen on trying this loadout more to see what I could do with it.
Hunt me, somebody hunt me!
Don't hunt them to completion.
Hunt me!
You'd notice in a lot of my videos in the past that the kills that I secure with mid-tiers and apexes are the ones that I've caught off guard, or are the ones that usually sit or sleep near the water. Because what I do is I wait for them to make that mistake of sitting or sleeping near the water, because one, when you're sitting you take twice the damage, and if you're sleeping you take 4 times the damage. And 2, you're locked in a position. If you're sitting or sleeping and a Sarco ambushes you, you still have like 2 to 3 seconds of animation of standing up before you could actually run away. And 2 to 3 seconds is a long enough time for a Sarco to take down something from a sitting or sleeping stance. And you'll also see me try to land headshots. I think I've caught a few Spinos sleeping near the water, and I was able to two-shot them with the crushing bite on the head. So yeah. A lot of new inexperienced Sarcos commit the mistake of trying to ambush everything in sight.
Alright guys, as you can see, I got 5 feet, less than 5 feet from that alligator. Now, we're gonna see if we can get closer to a group of alligators.
As Sarco, you don't want to break cover. Once you ambush out, you're breaking cover and everyone knows you're there now. If I see something on land and if I can't kill it in a few bites, then it's not even worth ambushing for me. That's why I wait for them to sit or sleep. With a fully charged crushing bite, you could one-shot something like a concha. So yeah, if you can't kill it in a few bites, it's not even worth ambushing. Another thing is when you're hunting a, let's say, semi-aquatic like Spino, Dinosaurs, don't try to ambush when they're near the shore. If I see a Spino thinking about swimming, I try to hide from line of sight to make them think that it's clear and safe to swim. And if they do, I'll stay out of line of sight. I'll swim low and just track them. And when they're in deep enough water, that's when I initiate the attack. If you're tracking something in the water, it's best to keep low, because a lot of people don't actually look down when they're swimming. I've come across a few Sarcos who totally missed me because I was just right under their line of sight. They don't often look below them, and that's when you could initiate ambushes. If you're tracking something from the water, stay a bit lower in the water, because you don't want your tail breaking the surface when you're diving, because sometimes when you're too close to the surface, even though they don't see you and you dive, your tail might clip the surface and break cover. So what you could do instead is just lightly tap the dive. That way you could dive down without your tail breaking the surface. Here's another trick. You could dive down from the surface without making any noise. Because usually it would go like this when you dive regularly. You hear that diving sound. What I do instead is I hold the precise movement and aim my mouse down and just press W. It's dead silent. As compared to this one, that sound can be heard quite a ways away, so it might also give away your position. So hold the precise turn or the precise movement key and just press W and aim down. So it's completely silent. I think that covers the basics of Sarco. Yeah, I hope you got something from this video. Let me know down below if you want to see more videos like this, or if I should add more commentary to my videos. I'm trying to do different stuff, so just let me know what you want to see in the future. I think that's about it. See y'all around, gamers.